Cobra Kai Season 6 opens with Johnny Lawrence, Daniel LaRusso, and their respective families living a peaceful life after Terry Silver was arrested and Cobra Kai was dismantled in the Season 5 finale. Daniel tells his wife, Amanda LaRusso, that he still wants his student to participate. He still wants to have his Miyagi-Do in the Sekai Taikai, the international karate tournament. After they win, he is going to stop karate, knowing the legacy of Miyagi-Do karate will be all around the world. On the other hand, before Johnny takes Robby and Miguel to Miyagi-Do for training, he decided to take them to the old Cobra Kai dojo so he can teach them privately. But when they arrive there, it turns out the Cobra Kai dojo has been demolished. They move their training back to the Miyagi-Do dojo where former Cobra Kai members and Miyagi-Do students are getting along with one another. All apart from Sam and Tory, who can't just get along yet and are always 10 steps away from each other in their trainings. With Robby and Miguel able to work out their differences from previous seasons, they decided to try their best so Sam and Tory can get along. Before they begin their official training for the day, Hawk and Demetri call their three senseis Daniel, Chozen, and Johnny out. They reveal that they and the other students have decided a name to give to their combined dojo, and it is called Miyagi Fang Karate, featuring a logo of Mr. Miyagi with fangs. Johnny seems okay with this, but Daniel is completely against the idea as it ruins Mr. Miyagi's legacy. Chozen support Daniel that they should just name it Miyagi-Do, leading open argument against him and Daniel. To settle this issue, Chozen and Daniel decided to fight. Who wins will use the dojo name they want. On the other hand, Miguel, Sam, Robby, and Tory are on an awkward double date at an arcade as Sam and Tory do not want to talk to each other, depict Miguel and Robby efforts. While Miguel tries his best to make the girls engage in a conversation with each other, Robby, who sees Kenny, decides to go talk to him. After Robby abandoned him at Cobra Kai under Terry Silver's leadership, Kenny really hates him and doesn't want to talk to him. The scene changes to show us Johnny buying a hammer at the pawn shop to fight Chozen. Daniel follows him there to try to talk him out of the fight, but Johnny argues that since John Kreese kicked him out of Cobra Kai, Eagle Fang Karate is the only thing he feels ownership over. Just as he leaves the shop, Johnny receives an anonymous message telling him to meet at Coyote Creek, where he used to train his Cobra Kai students. Johnny believes it to be no other person but John Kreese, because that's where he formerly used to train his students. Robby asks Kenny for forgiveness for everything, and tries to persuade him to join Miyagi-Do, but Kenny brother Sean shows up and tells Robby to back off. He was just released from prison and blames Robby for leading his little brother on the wrong path. After failing to reason with Johnny, Daniel attempts to talk Chozen out of fighting since no matter who wins, one will hold resentment toward the other. Chozen decided to reveal why he lost to Terry Silver was because he showed mercy at that fight. That same night he texted the love of his life Kimiko, but she didn't text back, which is obvious that she doesn't feel same way for him. Now Chozen wants to hold on to Miyagi-Do's legacy since he feels like it's the only thing he has left. Johnny goes to Coyote Creek to meet the anonymous person who texted him. He takes an axe with him, expecting the person to be John Kreese, but the person turns out to be Stingray, who is training a bunch of kids and he is using the method of Cobra Kai to teach them. Stingray tells Johnny that he heard about the Miyagi-Do naming debate and encourages him to reclaim Cobra Kai as his own since it's his legacy. The scene changes to Robby again, who is not ready to give up on Kenny. He tries to talk to him, but this time, his brother Sean gets angry and they both engage in a fight. Miguel joins Robby to fight Sean while Tory and Sam fights Kenny. Sean stops the fight after he hears security coming, worrying about what might happen to him and Kenny. Tory and Sam compliment one another as they are able to work together in the fight. Back at home, Sean warns Kenny that if he continues down this vengeful path, it will lead him to prison. He tells Kenny to reconsider Robby's proposal, as that might be what's good for him. When Sam returns home to tell her parents that she and Tory have settled their differences, it inspires Daniel with the situation between Johnny and Chozen. On the day of the fight between Johnny and Chozen, to Daniel's surprise, Johnny decides to submit. He agrees to join Miyagi because Eagle Fang was born out of his resentment towards Kreese, and now he wants to remove anything attached to John Kreese. To Robby's surprise, Kenny shows up at Miyagi-Do searching for a group to join, and he is welcomed by everyone there. Before the senseis begin lessons for the day, Johnny dresses as a Miyagi-Do sensei, and they decided to work together as one. Episode 1 ends with John Kreese showing up in front of a group of students training in a forest and tells them to inform Kim Da-Lan that Cobra Kai is back. Next episode begins with a flashback where we see young John Kreese and Terry Silver in South Korea as they are preparing to go back to America after fighting in the Korean War. They stop by Master Kim Sun-young class, who is busy training his students. Kim Sun-young sees his granddaughter spying on their training and punish her for that, but Kreese steps in to tell him that the child should be trained on how to fight. Kim pins Kreese to the ground, and the young girl tries to defend him by kicking the sensei in the leg, prompting him to see that she's worthy of being taught. Flash forward to the present day, the young girl turns out to be Kim Sun-young's granddaughter, Kim Da-yeon. She is happy to see Kreese again, who suggests they work together to compete in the Sekai Taikai to continue with her goal. But she tells Kreese that it's up to her grandfather, who is still alive. The scene changes to Johnny, Carmen, and Robbie Keane in their apartment listening to Miguel, as he reads over his admission letter to Stanford University. Just during the happy moment, a sewage pipe bursts into their unit, spraying all over the living room. Carmen tells Johnny that their apartment is getting filled up and they will really need a new place. She also talks about how they don't have money for Miguel because he is about to go to Stanford. Miguel overhears the conversation as Johnny tries to reassure her that their money problems will disappear once Miyagi-Do competes in the Sekai Taikai. Just as Miguel hangs out with Hawk and Demetri, they come across someone who told them that there is a smaller school which is closer to home as a much cheaper option, which interests Miguel. Johnny pays Daniel a visit and tells him about his problems, especially finding a new place to stay. Daniel tells Chozen to help Johnny find a new place. Master Kim Sun-young rejects Kreese's offer on the participation of the Sekai Taikai tournament. He later changes his mind and agrees to do so if only Kreese proves himself to him. He told Kreese to retrieve a dagger in a snake pit, and he will consider his request. After making discoveries about the nearby college, Miguel drags Demetri and Eli on a campus tour, and they bump into Kyler Park and Brooks. Kyler is a student there, while Brooks is just visiting from MIT. Kyler takes them to a fraternity party, where Kyler is being bullied because he's a new student. Zenker, the guy bullying Kyler, tells Kyler that he never be accepted into the fraternity. Kyler decides to unleash the karate inside of him and hits his head with a beer, and this begins a fight between other fraternity members. Miguel, Eli, Demetri, and Hawk joins Kyler and Brooks to fight the fraternity members. Kyler opens up to Miguel saying that he regrets not focusing on his dreams. If not, he could have performed well in college. He tells Miguel that it's worth chasing your dreams instead of settling for less, which gives Miguel the inspiration he needed. Johnny and Chozen goes to search for an apartment, but due to his financial instability, the agent refuses to let him rent. Johnny goes to visit Daniel at his workplace and pleads with him for a job. Daniel and Amanda contemplates on having him sell popcorn in their dealership, but they change their mind when Johnny sells a car.